they didn't really give it away or anything. You can't say that either. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's insane.
Was a
I don't know what's happening
pretty
there.
close 10 series. Zealots in a position in both games where they were so far ahead where it felt like, all right, game's coming into conclusion. They just need to find a kill, go for the core, and win the game. But the thing is, Method never gave up that kill. And they found out that if they're able to hold it long enough, eventually they find their own takedowns against their opponent, and they're able to steal away a couple of wins. And I think steal is a proper word here. They've gotten 2 really good wins by earning those at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is also, the defense that they had was great. There were a couple of pushes with web weavers, with camps, where I was just like, okay, this could potentially end the game, but at least another few structures are going to fall, and then nothing happens. Defense just absolutely amazing. So great calls here on the side of Method. I have no idea how they did it, but the comebacks that they are pulling off at this point are absolutely crazy, and we have all of that happening in one series. The one thing that still concerns me slightly is that if you look at the results, this is pretty clean cut, 2-0.
Yeah.
If you look at how the games went, you can really make a very good argument that both of those games could have ended in Zealot's favor.
Exactly.
So, because both of them were for a long period of time really dominated by Zealots. And the big question now is, can Method doesn't do it a third time?
Well, let's find out as we go to game number 3. The battleground has been chosen, and we'll see if Zealots can take that early game and mid game they've actually been doing really well in and end the series. Ooh, they actually in a position where we're going to Sky Temple, a battleground that's been pretty strong for Zealots in the past, but Method feeling a little bit comfortable here, and they're going to pick it for themselves.
And we also know one thing. This is not going to be a 30-minute game.
Yeah.
So thanks
truth.
to the objective here, we can be pretty safe to say that this is going to end a little bit faster.
If this game goes to 30 minutes, I think Caldor will eat his left shoe. You don't do that on Sky Temple. I was going to make the bet, then I'm like, wait a minute, it's Method versus Zealots. We'll put it on
okay,
Caldor.
yeah, thanks. Push it over to you.
No, let's push it over to you, man. So Sky Temple, a map all about that team fight in the early game, who can control those temples, and of course take the early game lead. If we go by trends, in game 1 and game number 2, I would say that Zealots were usually in the lead, and they were in a position where they were in commanding power. I feel like going into Sky Temple, if they can replicate that, this should be a battleground where they take away a win here against Method. So I'm actually kind of interested to see why Method has gone here themselves. They must have something planned.
Yeah, they definitely have to. And also, drafting is now going to be easy. I feel for Zealots, at least they have now the opportunity to take the short break that we had, just calm down a little bit. Because I can't even imagine how they must feel at this point. They were probably already a bit tilted after the first game, just thinking, did this really just happen? Did we just lose the game that we just completely dominated from start to finish? And then it happens again on Tomb in a 35-minute game.
Yeah.
And those 35-minute games, they are intense in Heroes. This is, how often do you play a game that long in the competitive scene? It's crazy.
We actually saw it towards the end there where the team fight started to get a little bit jumbly because you're just trying so hard to make sure, A, you're not falling apart, but you're also trying to stop your opponent. Like we had that Riptire come out, the Riptire connected, APOC was used a little bit late trying to interrupt it as it had been used consistently the entire game. It really does put mental wear on you going that far into the late game. So we'll have to see if that break was good enough for both of our teams to reset here, approach game number 3 as a clean slate as we gear up for this draft. Is there anything important that you expect to see on this battleground?
After seeing map 1 and 2, not anymore, no. The one thing that we could really see is maybe a focus on a bit more macro play, but that has been, through the meta, largely been replaced because of the way that the games play right now, but we don't see a lot of false stat, Dehaka anymore. We see maybe a bit of ATC with the stage dive every now and then. And also Method just played a comp that I didn't expect from the get-go. The Tassadar and, earlier already, the double support setup that we had.
And it worked out too. Get both mobile heroes taken away, Genji and Tracer. Garrosh for the first time in this series will be left up and available. Zealots considering whether they want to pick it up or not, and the answer is immediately yes. We are going in for the Garrosh. Mobsio back on the warrior that he enjoys playing.
That's also something that I feel Method probably expect. Look at the bans that we saw so far from Method. Method bans Garrosh first in both of the games before, knowing fully well how much Zealots prioritize Garrosh, how much they want them. They themselves picked Tracer in both of the games in their own rotation. But right now they find themselves in a position where they, instead of Garrosh, ban out a Tracer, so apparently no plans of playing her as themselves. They needed to know that Garrosh was taken. Yep. There's just no way, I think, that that Method really believed the Zealots would not take Garrosh here.
Do we see a world where we get that double support again here? Are they thinking about grabbing their Tassadar early? Maybe mix it with the Hanzo this time? Poke it down?
I really don't know. I think Hanzo was one of the heroes that definitely jumps to mind when you look at the setup, but then you also think about the two supports that we usually want to see here. And the Stukov versus Malfurion battle is still a big one. And you also want to... The double support could come in... Ooh, Greymane as a first rotation pick.
With Abathur.
Yeah.
Which I'm more interested in. We went through a phase where Abathur was bannable, or at least in a involvement rate very, very high in the first season, and then we come to these last couple weeks, and Abathur's fallen off a little bit. I think we got one game from ADRD, but Method coming out with the Greymane Abathur composition, looking to dive and shred.
Abathur doesn't shock me too much. I could have also seen that be picked up by Zealots later, together with Garrosh again here, as they used it on the Clash, granted on a very different map. But then we have, I feel like one of the reasons why we actually see Greymane being picked is because you have Abathur, so that you can get the copy then later on. But that you would put such a high priority on Greymane is just super interesting to me, because in general he has just fallen off completely.
It looks like they have a plan here. Medivh and Dahaka picked up for Zealots. Dahaka goes up a little bit in priority when you see an Abathur composition, so he can control the push that Abathur will be trying to do on the side lanes, trying to nullify him, but also with it being Sky Temple, having that side split pusher, always being in a spot where you don't have to dance around the temple is always a powerful tool.
It's going to be a really curious one.
And it is.
But Zealots have pretty solid setup here already. Every single time I see them with Medivh and Garrosh, I still just believe in Zealots, but then again, the last two games have taught us otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I still believe in them because they played well, but the Method, have they found a new way to win games by just holding on to the late game? It's crazy to me that they won both of those and were able to hold on so well. Great shot calling, by the way. So Zeratul gets banned out by Zealots. Makes sense. You want to make sure that Medivh in the back line is able to do what he wants to do. When you have to deal with a Zeratul on his cooldowns, it becomes frustrating to escape.
I'm really interested in what Method is going to do.
Is it going to be a Tyrael? I mean, that's an old one, but that wouldn't be new. That would just be an old type of playstyle.
I mean, then again, if you look at the couple of the combos that they played so far, solo ETC on the last map with the double support, that's pretty much the old double support meta that we saw there.
Shrimby pulls out the old drafts from when he used to be on Fnatic. He has like a little book where it's already announced, so let's just go with these.
Shrimpy, we need to change something. All right, let me see what do I have. Bonus con 2000 okay.
Well, Tyrael, just speaking about him, would be good on this battleground. Again, this map control, boss control you have to think about.
I mean, you can go into the Tyrael composition. The question for me is just really, I have zero idea what we can expect from Method here. Because first of all, the swap that we have between Ethereal Angel and Arcana, that's one of the things where you don't know how limited the hero pool on the front line now is. And the next, Nubarak and Falstad. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. In no scenario that I could have come up with would I have said, okay, they're going to pick a Nubarak and or Falstad right now. Those would have been the last two heroes that would have named after Gazlo.
And you know that joke about old school Fnatic, like suddenly it seems kind of true right here. I mean, the Anurak Cocoon combo was a Fnatic special with the Greymane. We talked about it in the first series. Falstad Globals on this battleground. Are we getting a Brightwing for the 5th pick?
That was my line.
Was it? Let's reset it here. I mean, Anubarak, old school Fnatic, and Falstad with the Mighty Gust. What could possibly come for the 5th pick?
It's just wait, they're going to go for Brightwing.
No way.
Just you wait, it's going to happen.
That would be insane. Zealots right now thinking about their 4th pickup, getting a little bit more damage on their side. I mean, if this was a new patch, if we were alive right now, I would say lock in that Phoenix, Planet Cracker, break down Abathur. But that's not payable here, so we have to think outside the box.
I also promise we're not trying to imitate Dumb and Dumber here. We're always like that.
All right, man. Li Ming coming in here to help out with that Cocoon, dropping that Incinerate. Always a good tool against that Anu. And Stukov for the final pickup. Okay, so we actually had this composition played.
Is Malfurion not going to be picked at all in this entire draft?
He can be picked here. Cocoon, even with Incinerate coming out, you can fall up at the root and make sure that you lock down a target.
Yeah, but Malfurion would be the normal thing to go for here.
Exactly.
So
Method's breaking rules.
I feel like one of the reasons why Zealots also pick Stukov is, first of all, that you know you're going up against Nubarak, and there's nothing worse than having a Cocoon straight into a silence. But I really want to know what the last pick is right now.
I'm just staring at that circle right now, waiting to see what pops in.
Because I can't even remember the last draft that we had where Malfurion didn't play a role. If that actually happens, that would be insane.
Now they're toying with us. I'm trying to think of what else.
Shrimby is just sitting there in comms and is like,
I mean, I never thought about the question of whether or not it's not a support.
Oh, we had that once already. It was Dignitas that played it.
The Samuro.
Okay, boys. We're ready. Bring it.
Wow. That just happened. Okay,
I can tell you what just happened. Twitch had just exploded. That just happened.
Okay, well, Method coming out with an unorthodox method of approaching the game here as we get ready for game on number 3. No support. Abathur, of course, has healing capabilities, so I guess you could say pseudo-support, but in terms of a main healer, we are not getting one. It's going to be about dancing around their opponents here, and what battleground best to dance around your opponent? Sky Temple, one of those that if you're able to get a lead and you're able to distract them and constantly move around, you can break them down slowly but surely. Didn't think we would see it today, but Method says otherwise. You ready?
Yeah, I am definitely ready for this.
Let's go.
After the first 2 games, I'm very ready for whatever happens now.
I think Method just cured Caldor's head cold. He is not coughing anymore. He has no headache. It amplified the headache.
I wish. No, it didn't amplify the headache, but I still have a pretty massive headache.
Well, we're getting ready for game number 3. Hang on a second. We're about to jump into it. We'll see if this Samuro can be effective. We had Samuro. What was the last time we had a Samuro? Was that back at MSB with Fnatic? Will we be playing Samuro on BOE?
We had one on BOE at some point, but don't pin me down on the exact game.
That was, gosh, I feel like we haven't seen a Samuro in forever. Samuro, again, being able to split into mirror images, distract your opponent, and also really good at coming in for backline flanks. But if he is controlled well enough, typically he can do all right in splitting certain lanes. And Dahaka here should be okay for trying to shut him down, but the thing is, you're also trying to deal with that Abathur, and Abathur should be able to empower that Samuro, allow for him to jump on a target and try to quickly dissolve them.
I came in here today and I would not have been surprised if Zealots came out and started to completely demolish Method. And when the first game started, I was just like, I'm a bit afraid this could be a short one. And then flip around happened, the comeback, and I'm just like, well, that was actually well done, but let's see if game number 2 shows a bit of a different style, or if this is going to be now Zealots getting angry and trying to say, okay, we're going to take game after game right now. And instead, we're seeing the same thing happen, and now Method is just sitting there saying, boys, we need one more game. We are 3 to try it out. So let's just go in there and throw stuff there and see what sticks.
Is it going to stick, though?
I mean, they're not just playing a comp, you know, they're just a YOLO out now.
No, totally. They believe in this.
Yeah, you scrim with that stuff, and there's, of course, there's certain things, certain cheeses or certain strategies, pocket strats that you play or train against certain opponents. You don't show it to everyone that you scrim with, just so that you know, okay, what can we play against which team? And you play it maybe not 50 times, but you use it a couple of times, see how it works, how it feels, and when you feel the situation is adequate, then you try and pull it out. So it can still backfire heavily, but this is something that Zealots might not expect, and we're going to find out how this is going to go right now.
And here we go. On the left side, Zealots looking for their first win as best of 5. Mopsio playing Garrosh, ADRD on Medivh, Shad on Stukov, Zarmi and Dahaka, Chris on Li Ming.
And to the right side of the map, Shwimpy on Greymane. We have Nick on Falstad, Athero on Samuro, Arcana on Anubarak, and Curson on the support. He's playing Abathur.
Athero on Samuro. He came out today, he's like, you know what, I'm back to my role, and I am going to put on a performance. He did on the Tracer, did well in game number 1, and now in game number 3, trying to show us how Samuro can be in a team here.
Now, Athero is always a guy that played a lot of these heroes and wanted to bring them back. He wanted to play Iraq for the longest time and thought he had a place there. He has a lot of ideas when it comes to drafting and when it comes to what they could throw out there that they've used in the past. And in this case, it's going to be Samuro, Way of the Wind, chosen as a level 1 talent. So a bit of an additional speed bonus that you have after entering and exiting the Wind Walk. So already a bit more about mobility here.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very curious how this is going to go for them. Because in this setup, if you don't have a support, you need to either just focus heavily on macro play, or you need to be very decisive in the way that you make your decisions.
Something to note, though, Medivh going to be happy against Samuro. With the mirror images coming out, they will stack up Medivh, and he's already at 5 stacks. Samuro being careful and not dropping those mirror images in the bottom lane, which stops that split push that he wants to pull off. Samuro, one of these gorilla type of players that are looking to jump around a fight, come in and out, and try to wear you down. And it's now all about these Giants, grabbing those for both of our teams. I'm actually really curious to see how they're going to handle these Knights to the top right corner. It seems like so far, Method has played a little bit on the passive side here, waiting for those temple phases to come in first.
I mean, for for Zealots, it's also one of those setups where you have to just now be insanely cautious. Because if you lose one more map, then you lost the series. And it's already devastating enough that both of the games that you just lost were basically wins for you, and then your opponent just wouldn't give up and just turns it around towards the later stages. So it must be insanely frustrating for them. Shaking that off, not just you just lost 2 games, but shaking off how you lost them, that must be insanely difficult from their perspective now.
Certainly. And so far, they seem to be holding well. They have geared up for a push on the bottom lane with the Giants. They've cleared it out pretty quickly. Garrosh tossing that first Giant in, making it easier for defense. So much so that Method had to bring down all 3 members here just to clear it up. Chris lurking in the bushes, waiting for that perfect combo, trying to find a target he can hit with Shat, bringing out that silence.
Abathur still sitting up at the top alone against Tehaka, who's still hiding in that bush as well, trying to see if he can maybe bait someone out there, but Curson has absolutely no ambition to do that. And in the meantime, we are still seeing Zealots sharking around here in the mid lane, where we have a Thero just playing it safe for now.
Level 4 pickup here for our Samuro. Mirage. Mirror Image grants Samuro and his images 40% spell armor against the next 2 sources of spell damage, reducing the damage by 40%. Making it easier to deal with that Li Ming that we'll be trying to shell away.
Yep, 12 stacks by the way on Medivh, so once again highlighting that against Samuro, of course, he's going to get a lot of stacks in here. Also, camps are now taken for both teams. We see Zealots at the top working on theirs. Method has already claimed it, as we see the temples activate on the map. Besides that, not really too much crazy stuff happening. The build for Abathur still the current standard, heading into the Carapace build to get the extra shields out. So at least a bit of a pseudo support that we're seeing on the side of Method, as they're playing this without a main support. And we're having, in the meantime, also a Falstad focusing straight into the auto attack build, so going Season Marksman on 1, as well as then on level 4, adding a straight hammer gains to the equation. But yeah, seeing Falstad alone already in here is interesting. I mean, we've talked a lot about how the globals have fallen off heavily in all of the games that we've seen here. Not only actually in Part 2, but even in Part 1 of 2018, we only had a couple of Falstad games compared to what's happened in 2017, where the globals were the most respected heroes in the bunch.
Thorough making a play here on the bottom with Falstad, looking to break down these turrets, putting a little bit of pressure on that Tehaka, which gives a little bit of room for Greymane to grab that top temple, who, by the way, is keeping alive the spell aura, and eventually we'll be able to clear it up, especially with Arcaner coming over to help out. And Method holding in there pretty well so far. Shad having to row down with the help of Mopsio. And Nick doesn't get caught here by the Groundbreaker. He does, but still able to escape. And Method continues to do what they can. They're even looking for a kill on the team. They get it, and they reset his stacks. Yeah.
That's one way to deal with the fact that Adiati can stack faster.
Yeah.
Just kill him more often.
You can stack all day, but we'll just take your life. Almost gangster-like here for Method. And they look to also jump straight on top of this fort here, chunking it down quickly. And this will give them a nice experience hike. Shad's going to come over and try and help, but they got to be careful. Greymane with a Hat Man. You may not see Greymane too much, but it is still a terrifying hero. Yeah,
it definitely is. And especially if he has a symbiote on the top of him, that makes it, of course, even worse. So if... Oh, actually, nah. Okay, so once that we are seeing the ultimate evolution, then later on, the double Greymane could actually be completely terrifying here.
What about double Samuro?
Yeah.
Double 6 images, well, 4 images, 2 actual Samuros. What is Garrosh gonna throw?
That actually reminds me of Warcraft 3, the early game, where you just put with Solo Blade Master, double Wand of Illusion, and then you just tower up the opponent's base.
You're talking about those old games again, you old timer. Warcraft 3.
Please tell me you played Warcraft 3.
I dabbled in Warcraft 3. I did dabble in it.
Thank God.
It was actually one of the games that I had to play when I joined IPL. They made me play Warcraft 3, which was nice. It was fun.
There's a little bit of respect left that I still have for you, Tim, after you told me you don't know Monkey Island, then you would have lost that too if you would have told me that Warcraft 3 is also something that you know nothing about.
Dude, I'm working on my nerd rep right now. I'm watching Indiana Jones. I'm going to play that Monkey Island game you talked about.
Don't remind me that you don't know in the Indiana Jones movies yet.
Oh, I watched the first one.
Me.
So I am now in it. 10 hits for Method.
And on a scale from great to awesome, where would you rate it?
Indiana Jones, the first one? That was good. It was enjoyable. I see where everything comes from when it comes to adventure movies.
Tim, get out.
Just leave for the 3rd time today. Threatened to leave.
Oh, unbelievable. That's what I have to work with. Yeah.
The level 10 hits here.
Okay.
And we have the pickup for Samuro being Illusion Master. So
yeah.
it's definitely all about split pushing. And they already have a fort up, too. So this is good news for them. Oh, and they're actually coming for a big play on the top lane. Zarmany all by himself. He gets taken out. Method finding another kill, playing a methodical game.
I mean, look a little bit about what's happening on the map right now. In general, the experience lead that exists for Method is not a big one. Zealots is now also trying to counter that push at the top lane with an immediate go for the structures at the bottom before even waiting for the temple or anything. But we have Method actually starting an insanely strong push on the map, and they are playing really well around their ability. Oh, once again, Cocoon trying to see if they can maybe grab a kill here, but Shat comes in, Zarmany too, and that, no, they go for the copy. I thought for a second actually they would just move back. Maybe Shrimpy didn't see them coming yet and committed to the ult at that point. But the one thing I wanted to highlight is that Method is actually starting to get at least a structure lead on the map. They're playing really well around that, and they're doing an absolutely fantastic job trying to push out these lanes, control the camps. And this is of course something that with Samuro is at least easily done. So they're playing to the strengths of their own comp. But this is something that Zealots are now trying to rectify. And with portals, they're attempting to chase here a bit. But Method is controlling this game extremely well. And so far, their setup is working a lot better than I thought it would. I'm really liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but Zealots now have done well here. They took off the camp that was being invaded, and they also grabbed the temple at the bottom. So they're coming back in experience. They've put some damage on that middle fort, too. So Method, in a situation where they were trying to snowball that lead a little bit in the top lane by grabbing the night camp, suddenly have to give it up, and now we're hurting. Mopsio, though, going to be the next target here. Now, the blind burrow charge there from Arcaner. It makes sense why he went for it, trying to catch him on that corner. But now he's in a situation where he doesn't have his escape. Can he walk out? The cooldown's up in 2 seconds. Can he get out of here? Taunt in, and nope, he gets knocked up, and Method loses their tank.
Still a really cool move that they had with the guys coming in from Falstad, trying to set that through. Didn't quite work out for Arcana, but it was a nice touch. So we have 1 kill on the side of Zealots now, 2 still for Method. And with Samuro, they're just trying to pressure that offlane the entire time. And it's not only Samuro, it's Abathur helping out just continuously. That's the early level 13, but Zealots is now just going into these 5 versus 5 situations where they roam as a group. They're trying to take bosses. They're trying to make sure that Samuro doesn't get too much value up here. But eventually he's going to break through if they don't react to it. And that's what Zarmany, of course, is for now. But he's going to have a tough time going up against Samuro plus Abathur. So that's one of those things where he is going to need some assistance. And you can see that Method is even completely ignoring him. They're just saying, boys, what if we just go for the keep?
They do. They go straight for the keep here, using the hat too. Going to have a thorough on the back right, able to use Illusion Master, and he barely escapes. But look at this gang that's coming. Flaming Imadiv looking for him. Yeah,
they're not going to get him here. But it was actually surprising he was able to get out. The Illusion Master here saved him, but that was insanely close. Like, he could have fallen because Zarmany did actually a pretty good job with the drag there. Connected there at perfect moment in time, and the keep was also firing. But now if you look at that top keep, that's something that at any point can be picked up by Ethereal. So there's going to be constant pressure on the Zealots, and that has to be the gameplay of Method. Just try and run that play. It's also one of the reasons why Mule has been chosen that we're seeing coming down in the mid lane now. Just attempting to stall this out as long as they can so that they can get more value out of their Samuro play.
It's done a great taking out that Mule too. Chris clearing that up pretty quickly. And now we're getting to a spot where Zealots are in a position where they can start to get control of the map quickly, and Method's in a situation where it's like, okay, well, we have the top lane pushed in, this keep needs to go down, and it's starting to become a pressure play that they constantly have in the back of their mind that they have to deal with. With this temple spawning at the bottom left, they are at least in a position where they can try and stretch Zealots then, and Zealots will be in a spot where they have to make sure that they're keeping an eye on that Samuro.
Yeah, and now they're starting to take the position up at the top. Illusion Master has already been chosen to just swap straight into the front again. And there's the immediate Abathur ahead, making sure that Zarmany has to retreat. And Zarmany also has to retreat because there were several traps against him already. And with Falstad having the global mobility here, he just can't do anything about that. And here he's going to try and save it, but as you can see, there's just absolutely nothing you can do to stop Ethereal from taking that keep it down. So we have an experienced lead for Method. They're half a level ahead, and they're just playing around Zealots as much as they can here, and Zealots are trying to find the answer. They're trying to set up coordinated pushes as a team and attempt to also put pressure on specific lanes, and in their case it's the bot lane that they're targeting.
And they're going to double Abathur here. Go straight for Zarmany, but also thinking about putting some damage on that core. Chris has to come back and help defend. And that's going to be that, as Kirsten attempts to sneak out. It's going to be the clone, so no big deal. Thoreau leaves. And Garrosh controls the bottom temple, which eventually gets his fort, but suddenly now Method's in a position where, as you mentioned, they have the experience lead, and they have the catapults